Wait, what are you telling me? There's other cards out there in Magic the Gathering that are worth money other than Reserve List? Don't feel bad. I'm as surprised as you guys are. Think about all the amazing cards that Wizards of the Coast has created for us as players in Magic the Gathering. It should come as no surprise that a lot of these cards will continue to rise in value. Wizards has built a massive library of cards they can draw value upon when they need to by reprinting them in special editions, secret layers, and sets. But between those massive print runs of sets comes years. A lot of the cards we love and play with do get bought out over the years and used in people's decks who don't want to exchange them between decks they already have built. That leads to a lot of these cards rising in value. And we're going to take a look at some of these amazing cards today. Let's start out with the first card, card number 1. We're taking a look at the Lord of the Undead from Planeshift today. Now, there have been other reprints of this particular card. The fascinating fact is they're all holding a good price. Although you'll see today it says $20 Canadian is for a near mint copy from Planeshift, the other copies and other sets it's been printed like 10th edition are around $18. So you might as well go for the OG original printing of this card. Now, the average is $39.90. The market is $22.56 US. A foil copy will be $115 US, although I did find it locally for $120 Canadian. €8.41 will get you that card. A lot of people love the zombie decks. They've never really gone out of fashion, and they just can't seem to reprint this card fast enough to keep those prices down. When you see how high these sales were across the multiple platforms and things I looked at, I wouldn't be surprised if this card is on our list this week for one of the top selling cards of the week. We'll take a look at that on Saturday, and of course I look forward to seeing you all there. Let's take a look at card number 2, which of course is going to be Brushland, another card that had a lot of sales in the last little while. $10 Canadian. You can find this one for $8.98 is the average. The market is $9.52 US. €5.70 get you that card. Now this is one of those pain lands where you can tap it for colorless or one or another color that would do 1 damage to you, but these haven't been reprinted in a very long time. So you can use these things in Legacy, Commander, Vintage, or Modern. But it hasn't been in standard play for quite a while. I'll be interested to see if they do bring these lands back. Because remember, certain mechanics in the game, Wizards does abandon over time, which means a lot of these cards never get reprinted. I mean, some of these cards are 10 years out from their last reprintings, and that's a crazy time to think about. So, something to keep in mind if you're looking for some of these older type cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at Cyclonic Rift from Commander 2014. Now, all the Cyclonic Rifts are amazing. I love the overload power. I've used this in a couple of my decks myself. But the sales, again, have been extraordinarily high. The price is kind of down a little bit right now, but overall it's still trending upward. You can find this card for $32 Canadian. The average is $30.03 US. The market is $27.72 or €19.67 will get you that card. The formats we're allowed to play this in are going to be Modern, Legacy, Commander, Vintage, and of course Pioneer. Keep an eye on this card. If it doesn't get a reprint in the next couple of years, its price will continue to go up. And I see Wizards using cards like this as equity in some of their specialty sets to kind of drive those prices a little bit higher, which means they're not going to reprint anytime soon as far as I can tell. We're going ahead and taking a look at Capsize. Now this card is not an expensive card on this list. I want to make that apparently clear because you can see the price. At $2 Canadian for a near mint copy going all the way back to Tempest. The average being $1.40, the market being $1.19 US, and 55 euro cent will get you that card. I can't say that properly. You guys know what I'm saying. But the sales were extraordinarily high. This card has a buyback ability, but not only that, I have used this in a deck where I make it pick up people's land because it just says return target permanent to owner's hand. In a major dump of land where you have so much mana, it's ridiculous. You can multicast this thing out like you would not believe and mess up people's mana pools. Keep an eye on this card. Although it's not expensive now, it came out as an evocation, I believe, from the Amonkhet specialty series. But other than that, it hasn't seen a lot of reprints. Its formats permitted are Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Pauper. This is a good card. Like, I can see why people use it. I still have it in a couple of my decks now, and I've always enjoyed it. Guys, keep an eye out. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card today, and that's going to be Arabian Nights Erg Raiders. Now, I'm not picking on particularly the Erg Raiders. I'm going to show you the stats on that card today. But what I'm talking about is, again, Arabian Nights, anything common, uncommon, that is under that $20 range is really disappearing. And a lot of the stock is in the last like 5 days has really slimmed out on some of the online platforms. You can find this card for between $15 and $20 Canadian for a light played near mint copy. Legacy, Commander, Vintage, and Pauper are your playable formats. You can find this thing for $8.74 is the average. The market says $8.57, and €7.80 will get you that card. Arabian Nights cards, guys, they're just not coming around again. They are OG original, first ever expansion in Magic, and that can be said for a lot of these older sets. Remember, even a near mint common of anything in the next 20 years from the original, say, 6-7 sets in Magic are something to keep an eye on if you can get them cheap and hold on to them and keep them in pristine condition. The sales on this were steady, nothing fancy, but there wasn't that many to draw upon. And I mean anything in common, uncommon. So keep an eye out for it. Erg Raiders definitely deserve some respect. I remember using these things all the time as a kid. It was crazy. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, which is Mana Drain from Legends. Now, this card is $320 Canadian near mint. You can see that the average is $330 US. The market's $287.23. It is €271.75 to get you that card, which is pretty pricey. I look for it in Canada first. Formats playable are going to be Commander and Vintage. A very limited playability of this card, honestly. Now, the original OG version will always command a higher price. Now, the reprints are selling quite well for this card, but what I find is the original ones are slow. The reprints have high volume sales, but it only has limited formats it can be played in. So this card actually doesn't have as much value to me as it may to other players or investors in Magic the Gathering. Look where you can play the card if you're looking for any type of tournament play. Look how limited it can be. In a Commander deck, you only need one. So this card, I expect, as an original, it's always going to go up. But if Wizards keeps reprinting it at the high rate they've been doing every year or so, the price is going to keep drifting down. Keep an eye on this card if you're looking for any of the reprints. It will get cheaper. Now, when we're taking a look at Great Henge from Throne of Eldraine, this card is $45 Canadian for a near mint copy. The average is $47.21. The market's $43.23. You can see they kind of go hand in hand. A foil, though, $55.25. That's going to be a little bit of US money for you. And €28.49 will get you that card. Now, since things have rotated out, it really hasn't dropped that much. It had a little bit of a spike earlier on. It is kind of drifting across the line downwards slightly. But it has a lot of formats that this card is playable in. We're talking Legacy, Modern, Commander, Vintage, Pioneer. It's used in multiple decks in Commander. The Henge is here to stay. Wizards knows they have a gold mine here. If you have this card, I do not recommend selling it. I would hold on to it, as the reprint for this card will not be anytime soon. You'll be looking at probably 24 to 48 months at the soonest, at the nearest time you could get one. And we all know Throne of Eldraine now being out of print is not likely to be opened en masse to provide us with more copies on the secondary market, which means you will see a gliding of this price going upward in an upward trend over the next 12 to 24 months. Keep an eye out. If it doesn't get a reprint, it's going to be worse. Now, when we're taking a look at Final Devastation, I'll be honest, I think I have a few copies of this card. I never really used it during War of the Spark, but I saw that the price trend was up and the sales are exceedingly high, like massive sales. And a lot of that came from some of the TCG player last week, but in the last 20 days, it's a lot of copies to see sell for a card like this. So $35 Canadian for a near mint quality copy. The average is $40.50 US. The market's $32.45. Foil is going to cost you about $80 US. That's crazy. And of course, €25.14 will get you that card. Now, War of the Spark, of course, is just before the flashy era of cards that we know from Throne of Eldraine. Just before. So things are still kind of hard to get. Foils are still pretty expensive. And you can see this card's drifting down a little bit by the grid you're seeing. But the sales are so high that somebody's been scooping these up. And it's a lot of people. And it's across the board. So great sales for the card. It does have some versatility and usage to it. It's played in quite a few decks, as you can see, for Commander, Modern, Vintage, Legacy, and Pioneer are the formats we're going to see this card in. Keep an eye out. I expect this card actually to drift down about 20% in the next 12 months. Now, when we're taking a look at Karn, the Great Creator from War of the Spark, let's touch on this for a second. When you're looking at a card like Karn, most people see, okay, it's a forecasting cost Planeswalker. That's not what I see. I see a colorless forecasting cost Planeswalker that can go in any deck. And somebody has been seeing the same as me, because there have been a couple of hundred copies sold. This card, if it makes it to the end of the week at the high sales it's at, it is going to be on the list this week, I can tell. When we see this card at $10 Canadian for a near mint copy, the average is $10.53 US. The market is $9.09 US. A foil is only $22.09 for World of Spark foil. That's crazy. And of course, €9.94 will get you that card. This card continues to drift down in price, but the sales continue to drift up. That is going to come to a head sooner or later. Now, the formats permitted are going to be Commander, Modern, Pioneer, Vintage, and Legacy. It's got lots of playability to it. It's got a lot of formats it can be used in. And remember, a colorless Planeswalker can basically fit into any deck. And that's what a lot of people forget. The colorless Planeswalkers, all the Karn types, they can go anywhere. All right, let's take a look at our next card. And of course, that is going to be Vampiric Tutor. Now, Vampiric Tutor, I remember when it first came out as a kid, we loved it because it went along with Demonic Tutor. It didn't get a reprint for a long time, but you can find an original OG near mint for $72 Canadian. It's used in Commander and Vintage, of course, so it doesn't have a lot of playability outside of Commander or Vintage. It's banned in most formats. It doesn't get a lot of usage. It's just the way it is. But it does have a high value attached to the card, and people recognize that. The sales for the originals are quite steady, but the reprint sales of the newer sets are quite high. The average is $67.49 US. The market is $60.34 US, and €41.12 will get you that card. I understand the beautiful new artwork they've added to this card, but there's just something about having the original card to me that just says, yep, you're there. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next card today, and that is going to be Karn, Scion of Urza from Dominaria. Again, forecasting cost Planeswalker who can do a lot of stuff. The price has drifted down massively, $9.50 Canadian for a near mint quality copy. You got an average price of $8.49 US. The market is $7.64. Foils are $19.93 US, and €6.60 will get you that card. But as this card, again, like the other card, continues to drift down in price, people are buying this card up by the bucket load. I'm keeping an eye on these two cards because I do have a couple of each one, a couple of play sets. When I got them when they were like $5 each, they have gone up since then. But when I see that many sales, it gives me pause to concern and go, what's going on that I don't know about? So I'm letting everyone out there know. So if you know something that's happening with these cards, please let me know. Hit me up in the email. Now we're going to our last card today. We're taking a look at Avacyn, Angel of Hope from Avacyn Restored. $45 Canadian for a near mint copy OG original. You got an average of $44.30 US. The market's $38.83 US. A foil though, $81.35 US, and €21.75 will get you that card. And although it's been reprinted a bit, this card continues to drift upward. The formats it's permitted in are Legacy, Modern, Commander, and Vintage. I have one in my Commander deck myself for my Angels deck. The sales are very high on most of these cards today, and I can't believe the amount I'm seeing. It's not like at my normal 30, 40, it's hundreds plus, which just blows my mind. So let's keep an eye on these cards because a lot of these cards can have some serious value going forward. It really made me think. If Wizards doesn't reprint some of these cards quicker and doesn't put them into even into premium products a little bit faster, we are going to see a lot of upward trending cards in the next couple of years, which means we could have some issues with affordability, and I don't know what that will lead to. New creations of brand new formats yet again as the prices drift up on some of these old cards that are being scooped up by people. It makes you wonder. It really does. Well, that's a tale for another day. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a great day today. Hey, a big shout out goes out to each and every one of my amazing patrons. I'm sorry for the patron I forgot. I have fixed it for you. You are there, and I apologize profusely because it shouldn't have happened to you. Guys, patrons make the world go round. Have a great day, everyone. Those who don't give up deserve to be rewarded. Says deliberate. Boom, that's what you get. Lucky few. I know there's very few make it this far in the video. Congratulations to you mighty treasure hunters. Guys, have a great one today. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. What a day, man. Awesome. Awesome.